Hey, what's good, One Piece gang? Welcome back. Hope y'all are having a good day. We're gonna be finishing up Whole Cake Island. Let's go. Y'all, I'll give my thoughts on the arc after the episode in the review section, so stay tuned for that. At some point, I definitely want to do like a tier list of all the One Piece arcs, especially if I get like caught up at any point. But maybe I could do like a pre-time skip one versus a post-time skip, or all together. I don't know. Let me know if any of y'all would be interested in that. But I'm kind of curious on like I'm already thinking about where does Whole Cake Island stack up for me, you know? But I'm also very curious on how this is going to end. Seems like Luffy and them are finally escaping thanks to the Sun Pirates. You know, Jinbei kind of stepping back in to, help them escape that with that big whirlpool. That was sick. But yeah, I'm curious on like what the consequences of all this arc is going to be with the Big Mama Pirates and the Straw Hats. Are we going to get any bounty increases, or, because there hasn't really been much government involved, is everything kind of going to be staying the same except for the pirate power sphere? I don't know. I'm very curious. If y'all enjoy this one, drop a like for me, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. I appreciate y'all's support, and let's go ahead and watch some One Piece together. No music, y'all. No music. That's when you know. Thank God, dude. I'm tired. I'm tired of all these damn pursuers. I don't want to see the Big Mom Pirates for like 20 years. Oh, you heard? Yeah. Damn, I forgot that he was the one who like first met them all. I think he would disagree. Yeah, she can know. She knows what she's thinking. Rub each other's head. Yeah. Pedro was a man, dude. God damn it. I thought last episode was going to be the last score. Here we go, y'all. Chopper's seen all the damage Katakuri did to Luffy. Luffy took so many beans this arc, y'all. I was talking with Bethany about that. Like, Luffy got his ass kicked like 100 times. Oh, she's still coming? Oh, God, really? Oh, my God. She's like she's on a jet ski or something. It's kind of beautiful in some ways, y'all. Damn, whoever the girl is singing this has got a freaking voice. She made a lot of mistakes from all her pain, man. This part was one of my favorites, honestly, of the whole arc. Just his reaction to it. That's just Sanji, man. Like, I know a lot of times it's goofy, but there's people that need to hear that. Like, his genuineness. Like, he's kind of over the top sometimes, but it's genuine and it's just like kindness and love. I've had like goosebumps for the past like 10 minutes, y'all. Aww. He doesn't know what to do. No. Why did she? Damn, dude, that's heartbreaking. Why would she do that? Damn, y'all. Damn, that whole like scene was so well done. Oh my God, look at all them. They're so cute. He's always loved donuts, bro. It's so funny. Donuts. Dude, little pair of sparrows, crazy. I didn't know Brule and Katakuri were actually so close. Dude, he had his trident all the way back in. Damn, looks badass. Ooh. So you want to be perfect for to protect others versus to hide his imperfections, really. That's interesting. Damn, y'all. Wild. Thank God, dude. So relieving. Man, guys, that musical score, it's gonna be stuck in my head. That was really good. That was definitely the best one of the arc. They're like, it's been so long. Safe, free. Yes, Luffy had to cook and almost died. Ooh. We were literally just talking about Barati last episode. Yeah. Something that connects us all, man. Dude, that's awesome. I love that, man. Good shit. God, dude, I feel like I'm gonna have to like watch that that score, the Soul Pocus. The Soul Pocus score there. I feel like there's a lot of meaning in that I need to like think about more. Like just like the lyrics of it. Really, really interesting. Also, I'm like just looking at the title. The Parting Time Pudding's Last Wish is just, that's gonna destroy me this whole time. The fact that Pudding erased that from Sanji's memory is just really heartbreaking, man. Like, just like she didn't want to burden him with it or something, but yeah, man, that's sad. Final episode, y'all. Are you kidding? We're starting with Shanks. Are you freaking? Let's go. What news is there? Is it about Big Mama? Did we ever see that in the anime with him cutting? Because I remember I saw that in the live action. It's nice seeing this reanimated. Here come the damn mountain bandits, these punks. As he already tore the place up a bit. Psh, 8 million, that's baby shit. I couldn't imagine Luffy without the Gum Gum, bro. Like, imagine if someone else ate the Gum Gum. Like, was he planning on having someone in his crew eat it or anything? There it is. The Sea King. Is it a Sea King? I'm always confused if this one was or not, if they were only in the Grand Line. God, he's so badass, y'all. God, this soundtrack, man, I will always get goosebumps. That reunion is gonna be crazy. Okay, it is the Sea King, yeah. The pistol. His fists are just like pistols now. The Sea King got rocked, man. This is one of the most famous Sea Kings taking a freaking emperor's arm. I don't know if Shanks was technically an emperor back then, but Mayor's looking a lot older these days. Okay, so the story definitely came out about him. Is that from Germa? Ooh. You gotta be kidding me. Sanji's like, I will not be seeing you with that. I'll commit suicide. Will be cool. Laser beam? Oh my gosh. Yep. They love their beams, dude. Yeah, they use a lot of science in the crew. What? She stole him? There's no way that she stole him. Oh, are you kidding, bro? It's only gonna work for Sanji. Oh, they're gonna see the news. I want to see, what does it say about Luffy? Front page. I'm gonna have to go back and look at those guys. There's a couple people in there. Okay, we got more. Damn. Ooh, he's always gonna be pissed. Yep. Don't tell me he says Vin smoking it. Vin smokes Sanji. He's never gonna be able to escape. Why is he so sad? Is it because his didn't go up or something? Oh, they're all wearing straw hats. Yeah, her and Luffy together was pretty funny. His name's getting out there. Ooh, crocodile. Oh, I love when we catch up with everyone. Baji's like, that was my idea. Yeah, I guess in a way he kind of did. He rescued Sanji too. The fifth? Really? They're naming him? There's no way, y'all. Fifth? Are we for real? Luffy's an emperor already? Or is this like unofficial? No way, dude. Oh, that's so sick, man. Bro, I mean, beating a billion bounty, in a way, the article's not wrong that they kind of did win. You know, it's not that they didn't suffer any losses or anything. It's not like they had like a complete victory against Big Mama, but like going up against Big Mama, accomplishing your goals. You know, they took took Sanji. They got the print of the fuck they're called again, the stones or whatever, the big cubes. Yeah, dude. I guess in a way he kind of did win, just not like an all-out victory, which is kind of interesting for this show. We haven't really seen that a lot. Usually Luffy just wins completely, but at this scale, I kind of like that, the way they just wrapped that up, man. That was sick. All right, y'all, man, I have to say off the bat, I thought this was probably one of the best perfect endings of an arc we've had in One Piece, just in terms of the composition of the episodes we had, especially 877 with the song and kind of reestablishing the themes so strongly and kind of just tying them up with a bow, man. Just so freaking well done. You know, say what you want about substance in the plot of this arc, maybe the pacing of this arc. You know, I definitely had some personal problems with some of it. Maybe it's more of a problem because I did a reaction series and it took me longer to finish it than just binging it through. But the strongest part of this arc for sure is how well Oda established such powerful and strong themes. It could be very well understood by an audience consuming the anime or reading the manga here. Something Oda does well in every single arc, but I think there was something special about Whole Cake Island here. And I think it's really wrapped up beautifully in these couple of episodes here, especially 877. We'll get more into the themes and this arc as a whole after we kind of recap these last episodes here. But I do just want to, make it clear that, kind of the themes that at least I interpret it as is kind of the themes of family dynamics, our biological family versus our chosen family, kind of selfishness of control of maybe the hierarchy of a family, even when it's in the pursuit of happiness or pleasure, and how that really can, destroy people's sense of authenticity and the beauty of, freedom and humanity, right? There's so much of that in different characters we get, and even of this world of Totoland. I just thought it was so beautifully written. I think it's tied up just perfectly in these episodes. I think the way it's tied up so strongly is around that Soul Pocus score here. I think it's just such a good way of kind of tying different themes that we've had throughout this whole arc together, and it's really centered around Big Mama, especially around her Totoland and really just her character, especially. There's a lot of things about, calling her like the greedy mama who contrived this whole plot with, moving these puppets around with Sanji and putting, forcing them to kind of pretend to be in love, but not really be in love. But, really the authenticity of Sanji, kind of pushing through all that fakeness to show his love and kindness to putting in the beauty of her third eye and breaking this puppetry, this act, this thematic act that Big Mama has set up, and really is kind of the core of her character. This character who is always trying to recreate the happiest moment of her life with Mother Caramel, these tea parties that she puts on, that she forces people to be a part of, to try to recreate this, even though she's the one who stole her own happiness through her gluttony. She's always controlling. She's that overbearing, over-controlling, and greedy, selfish person. And I think it's really interesting in the song. They say, nothing in this world is more fearful than sweetness. And to me, that means that like every pleasure comes with a price to a degree. Or even if you're in the pursuit of happiness, if you do that in a selfish way, it has repercussions and consequences for others. And we see that in so many different characters as we go along here. But yeah, man, I won't get too into the weeds of the themes yet. I think, let's recap the character ratings of these last few episodes here, and then we'll get into our, best character and worst character ratings of this whole arc, and we'll talk a little bit more about these themes. So for MVP, I gotta give it to Luffy, our 5th Emperor. I don't know if that's an official thing. Maybe the Emperor of the Seas is kind of more of like a cultural phenomenon, which is kind of seems that's what it is. Luffy is the 5th Emperor. That is crazy. Honestly, I wasn't expecting him to be an emperor after this. I thought maybe that would come later in the series, but it makes sense. It does. He showed his teeth to the Big Mama Pirates and really won in a lot of ways. For the best moment, I'm going to give it to Pudding. And, it's really, I think, the central part of this soul focus song outside of just the center of Big Mama, but as like kind of like we're in this medium part of the song, the kind of the bridge of the song here, we get Pudding and her final wish kind of explained. I love the way they convey it with her devil fruit power, like the film, and seeing, kind of writing like, what her last wish is with thank you and goodbye, and seeing Sanji's heart there in his eyes. He obviously loved that she kissed him. I think he does truly care for her a lot and thinks she's beautiful, obviously. But it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking that she takes that memory away. And I still don't really understand why she does that, if she's holding on to it just for herself, or doesn't want to burden Sanji with further emotional connection as he's leaving. But man, that was like heartbreaking to see, but really beautifully done. For the funniest character, I'm going to give it to Sanji and his reaction to his bounty of 330 million and it being more than Zoro's. Amazing. And then I don't think there was any Sacco this episode. So but let's get into our arcs, this Whole Cake Island as a whole. Best character and worst character, at least for me. This is subjective, of course. And we'll get into some honorable mentions as well, because I think there's so many characters you could give this to be honest. But for best character, I'm going to give it to Sanji. I think that obviously he's the centerpiece of this arc. We get so much more of one of our main characters that hasn't been as fleshed out as some of the other Straw Hats. I think we've, from his introduction at Barati, we had learned a lot about his character, how he, has him as a cook and not really being biased towards who people are to feed them. He can kind of look past all of that. And we get a really good wrap up of that too in 877, where we see the differences between Sanji feeding his friends and Zeph feeding some enemies. And, it's all about, if there's someone who is hungry, I'll feed them and then we talk. That we got that a lot of Sanji early on, but in here we see just the heaviness of the family dynamics at play, and abuse happening to him for his kindness, his authenticity, who he really is, and just how much that really mitigated his spirit. I think it really is. He's the best representation of the character who, one has to choose who his family is. His chosen family, the Straw Hats, instead of kind of staying complacent in this biological family and just coming to duty for and self-sacrifice for that family and to not implicate your chosen family. You know, we saw that so much with this arc and him kind of being destructive in a lot of ways. And Sanji's also this like centerpiece of like what control of the father figure or the hierarchy of the family can really do to your humanity and you know, make it so complex to really stay true to yourself. And Sanji had to really overcome that abuse and that control of Judge and his family, the bullying of his siblings, to eventually choose something for himself with the help of Luffy. You know, you could probably give Luffy the MVP of this arc for sure. And Luffy usually is that, to bring out the true nature and true authenticity of his family, his friends, the Straw Hats, and choose what he wants, which is to really go back to his chosen family here. I just love that. And I think his character and the complexities of his character are echoed a lot through other characters like Pudding, and the control Big Mama has over her, the bullying that other people have over her third eye, and her really her beauty, her uniqueness. And she has to hide her true self. And Sanji, and you know, it's probably someone she can relate to at the end of the day, is somebody that can help her kind of start breaking that you know, the hiding of her authentic self, of her true self. We see it echoed with, I think, Katakuri as well. And Katakuri's is really unique, I think, but he is somebody who didn't really care about the way he looked, but because it ended up hurting Brûlé, he ends up wanting to be perfect. He ends up starting to act perfect to hide this so that he probably won't get as angry from people making fun of him, so that he won't implicate his family. He'll be perfect to protect his family, not let his guard down so his family won't get hurt. So even when, you know, you're trying to do it for good reasons, you can end up hiding your true self because of that. And, you know, there's a lot of, hey, like, should you be accepting so much duty and self-sacrificing so much? You know, it's something that I think everybody watching this arc should, you know, think about a lot, is like finding that balance between protecting those you love, but doing it in a way that honors yourself, to not over sacrificing here. You know, we see it echoed with Chiffon as well, and her chosen family escaping from Big Mama's control and abuse here too. Just really, really beautiful that so many of these characters have their own unique battles, but all of it ties together with this theme of a dysfunctional family, the control that really just mitigates the true expression and connectedness of our authentic selves. All right, for the worst character, it's honestly hard, to be honest. You know, it could be really easy to give it to Big Mama. It could be really easy to give it to Judge. And I'm honestly torn between the two. But I think Big Mama probably has to be the worst character. Even though Judge, to me, is like the most outright, like, disgusting, Big Mama, I think, has more sway in this arc to affect so many different characters. But I think they really share the same role here, right? They share the same, like, the control and pursuit of whether it's ambition or happiness. You know, ambition from Judge to kind of, you know, get revenge or something for, like, you know, the North. I think it's the North Blue, right? You know, his ambition really drives away the humanity of Sanji and stops him from seeing Sanji's beauty as a person, his kindness as a person, his great qualities, and only sees them as weakness. And, you know, on the flip side, you have Big Mama, who also enacting in control, just in a different way, where she's trying to create a dream, this Totoland, this utopia, create these tea parties for that sense of happiness and sweetness of life, but it's at the cost of others. It's out of selfishness, not out of love. And you just see all the dysfunction of the Big Mama pirates, with really their fall and not being able to take on the Straw Hats is from a lot of this fear she establishes. There's lots of lying amongst their comrades, a lot of weakness. It's just a recipe for disaster, but you obviously see it the most with Chiffon and Pudding and their true beings being challenged and mitigated, pushed down from Big Mama's control here. Do you want to give a couple shout outs or honorable mentions for characters that I wanted to put into the best character? And that to me is Beji and Katakuri. Beji, I think, shows us what it means to be a true father, a true man, you know, living holy and confidently. I love this scene with him showing Pez how his father lives, you know, protecting his chosen family here too, right? He is that father figure that really brings everyone under his protection and mentorship, and you see just how much that frees someone like Chiffon. He respects his wife, he cherishes his wife, and he, also respects her and gives her free will to empower herself in these moments where she wants to repay the Straw Hats and see Big Mama eat this cake. I just thought Beji was a really great character. I love seeing more of him. Love seeing, the more of the kind of the assassin side as well too, and his mastermind. I thought it was funny when there was the newspaper was saying that Luffy was the mastermind, and you see Beji's reaction, like, "What? That was me." And then I gotta give an honorable mention to Katakuri. I think he was one of the most unique antagonists we've had. Big Mama's obviously the main antagonist, but you could argue for Katakuri being that one because it's the one that who actually Luffy has to overcome more so than Big Mama here. And great that he was such like an honorable character. I love getting a little bit more of his backstory at the end here. I love that he is kind of like happy that Luffy escapes. I feel like we're gonna get more of Katakuri at some point. I really love we get more of Brule in him, and just how Brule actually always didn't care that he was perfect. And she even accepted him back then. Like, she was like trying not to make him care so much when she did get hurt from his actions. She was like, no, you're already okay the way you are. And I love that. Yeah, dude, Katakuri just has some principle to him and is more complex than I think some of the villains we've had in the past. Although there's lots of good complex villains in One Piece, but I really, really adored Katakuri, and just his similarities to Luffy too. Really, really well done in the fight, and just who his character is. But yeah, y'all, let me know like kind of how y'all interpret this arc, the themes of it, maybe how it impacted you. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts, like what your favorite character was, what the best character was, the worst character. I know it's all subjective, so I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on kind of the writing in this arc. I'm curious on, to me, like this arc kind of, it reminded me a little bit of like Thriller Bark, and like how it's more centered around themes and necessarily the plot itself. Although I think it's a little bit better balanced in that than Thriller Bark, because Thriller Bark really doesn't have much plot until the very end of it, with Kuma kind of coming in the mix, maybe some references to the New World and whatnot. But Whole Cake Island has a little bit more with the poneglyphs and Emperor of the Sea and stuff like that, right? So there's a little bit more plot going on here, but I do think that both of them are more centered around a few themes that are written through the characters, especially here. It's a very character heavy arc, and we got that with Thriller Bark as well, with Brook, for example, and what's his face, the Chopper and Dr. Hogback. Yeah, like there was lots of really great themes in that arc too, and I think these arcs are always a little polarizing for people, because there's also a lot of people who just want to see the plot move on, right? And I'm definitely one of those people who want to see that, but I also really appreciate the themes of the way that Oda writes them. I think that is, if you don't really appreciate that, you're missing half of One Piece in my mind. Like, it really is both. Like, the world building, of course, is excellent. The plot is excellent. But I feel like the characters and the themes underneath all of this is really what gives the substance to One Piece. So I really enjoyed this arc. If I had any complaints, like I said, maybe a little bit of the pacing, maybe a little bit of the substance with the plot. Maybe it could have been a bit more balanced, or maybe if it was a little bit more condensed, probably wouldn't have felt as, slow paced, then it probably wouldn't have mattered as much. And that might just be, like I said, because it's the anime form, so, it does drag out a little bit longer. Shooting reactions, so I only watch a couple episodes a week, or maybe up to 4. Maybe in the manga, probably could have been, digested a little bit quicker. Lots of reasons for that. So I don't want to, harp on that too much, but I'd be interested in what y'all's thoughts on this arc was, and I really hope y'all enjoyed this arc. This was a freaking journey, y'all. This is the first, I guess not the first full arc. Zoe, I did a full reaction series to Dressrosa. I started in the middle of, but this is the first big full arc I've done on this channel. So I really hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know if what you're excited for in the next arcs here. It sounds like we're going to the Reverie, and then maybe we'll meet up at Wano. There's a few loose ends with Jinbei and whatnot, so we'll have to see what happens there. But I really appreciate all y'all's support, following me along for this, and I can't wait to get back into it with this next arc, y'all. I hope you have a really good rest of your day and a good week, and I will catch you for the next one. Peace.